So what we will be addressing right now is if we preview this table, and let's put this one to 1,000 right away. I know the drill about this, and we want to navigate to our product model name. There it is. So this can be somewhat worrisome. Looking at your newly created attribute in your dimension, and you scroll through it and you see that it's all nulls. But it is with nulls that you need to identify the cause of this null value. So in this case, if we click twice, we can see that we do have some values. I'm not sure how many values we have, but we do have values in approximately half of the rows, it looks like. And then some we don't have values on. Let's take it up and see where it splits right here. It seems like that makes sense. Looking at our product model ID, we get values when we have a product model ID. If you recall, we have the relation between the product model table and the product table to be based on the product model ID. And if there's no product model ID, if it's null, then you will get null values. But null values are not that easy to work with in your dashboard. You really don't want to have all of these unknowns. So we're going to address that. But before we do that, let me show you what other tools, measures you can use to address the data quality. So one thing is we have everything you need. Let me just get that out there right away. So primary key behavior, obviously it's an important one. The project default setting for this template that we used, and it's also the default setting per default when you create a new project, is that it will cause an error, which means that it will remove one of the if you have multiple rows with the same primary keys, then it will only keep one of these. You can set it to warning. I'll get back to these reports later on. Let me just note this down. This is something that I always do when I'm conducting these workshops on site. I note down what I need to get back on because I like to keep my promises. So warnings, where does it fit? Because it doesn't really fit right now. But it fits maybe in the exercise later on. Then we have the allow nulls, and the default setting is yes for this project, so that's why we have null values. We could set it to no. There's also you can check for null values using either the field-based or the record-based settings if you want to. Also, data quality is ensured. If we let me expand this one and have a look at this relationship defined right here. So in the relationship type, I can set it to warning, I can set it to error, I can set it to relation, I can set it with physical relation. And this is where this is a way of filtering out rows that don't have a matching, in this case product model ID. So if I set this one to error, it will remove any rows that don't have a product model ID. If I set it with error physical relation, it will apply that on your database as well. But what we wanted to do is we wanted to handle the product model name. It was null, as I showed you a minute ago, and we want to change this so it's so we get another value. And what we are going to do is we're going to, in cases where it's null, we just wanted to show the product name instead, but only when it returns null. So what you have to do is you'll right-click your product model name, and then you'll go to field transformation, and we will stick with the custom value, and then we will simply drag and drop the name field in here and click on OK. Notice as soon as I click on OK, it will apply a transformation right here. There it is. So now it has a lookup, and then it transforms but we only want this transformation to be applied when we are getting null values. So in order to add this condition, a case when statement, an if statement if you're working with Excel, you can right click the value, your transformation, and you can click on add condition. And then you highlight the field that you want this to be based on. And we're going to base the condition on the product model name. When this is empty, and we have a number of operators we can set, when this is empty, we want this logic to be applied. So now when I click on OK, you can add, remember to click on add, you can see that now underneath your transformation, you have this condition telling you that it only applies when product model name is empty. And when this is done, you have to right click and deploy and execute your product table. You deploy every time any structural changes, transformations, conditions, lookups, mappings, or whatever, null in product. I'm really not the best multitasker. So I put in a version node. This allows me to figure out what I was doing right here. And then I click on save. And I forgot what I was saying. Well, it doesn't matter. Now we got it. I hope I didn't speak too fast. Also, I hope I didn't speak too slow. I didn't bore you too much with this, but I will give you 10 minutes to work with this. And in order to facilitate, because I could set up a picture on my slide, but what I did instead, you can go to your desktop right here and go to sprint GIFs and go to data quality and then go to handle nulls. This is the exercise we just did. And if you double click the first picture, it will show you the first step in this exercise. And then when you're done with this, you can click the arrow right here, taking you to the next step, and finally the next step again. I will leave you to it.